Hi, my name is Trevon DeVoe, and I'll be discussing digital culture and designing for social impact. When we think of digital culture, we think of technology and its connection to the internet. We think of all of our electronic devices and the companies that make those devices, when in fact, it's really the interaction of every one of those things. It's checking our notifications in the mornings, the setting of the time clock on the oven. It's the binge watching and social media scrolling. It's being immersed in technology and using it on a day-to-day basis. Since the birth of the first electronic device called the relay, which was used to communicate to another from long distances, that sparked the first step into the ever-changing market. Then came the creation of the internet, and that propelled technology even further. And amongst that, a culture was born. A culture that I came accustomed to, a culture that involved social media, virtual meetings, and digital security. As an adult who was born into the new age of technology, where I was exposed to flip phones and heavy monitor computers, I watched technology evolve right before my eyes as I watched companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Samsung release new and different devices every year, each one becoming more like a Star Trek devices we've all seen on television. These devices made way for a new era, social media. My first interaction with social media was Facebook. At the time, it was simple, clean, and not much going on. Slowly, Facebook updated and added games and group chats and ads. Other social media platforms such as MySpace and Instagram were doing the same thing. I'm not sure who did what first, but it seems as though it all happened cohesively. Social media was a big part of my life as a kid. Seeing what my friends were doing and reading about those things that happened in school that I didn't see or hear about made me feel like I wasn't missing out on anything. There was this strange addiction telling people what was going on in my mind every day. Maybe it has something to do with the question Facebook asks every day in the status box: what's on your mind? Or maybe watching my other classmates do the same thing catered to my need to express myself, even though I didn't need to inform anyone anything. Now, as an adult, there's really no need to say anything. I only check my Facebook to see if anyone got married or had a kid. Keeping my personal business to myself has been my top priority because I've seen what it can do to people who share too much of their story every day. I would consider social media to be like a double-edged sword. It has many great positive aspects, but it also has its negatives. There are people who only seek to do harm and spread lies about everything, where no one really gets hurt either. I believe that this only creates more of division and tension within the country. Another example of digital culture that I experienced that became a constant need in my everyday life was virtual meetings. Like Zoom and Microsoft Teams, checking in on my friends and family abroad, or signing into the next class lesson became a new habit of mine. Some people don't like the feeling of being home during these times, but others would agree that remote learning and remote work has its benefits. Virtual meetings saved companies millions of dollars last year. You can log on and start any conference call from anywhere instead of planning which hotel to go to, which transportation to use, and where to eat. All that takes time in a 3-day trip and money. Experience revealed that 86% of participants showed equal or higher engagement during virtual meetings compared to live ones. Conference organizers save up to 60% of their budget and expand to their audience to those who want to attend but don't have the time or budget to travel. Virtual meetings are great, but they do harm the economy. Recent record analysts on the Tech Times blog stated, business conferences generate an annual $1 trillion in direct spending, from transport to accommodation. Many businesses rely on those conferences to generate most of their income every year. We thrive mentally and emotionally when we're amongst other people. We don't necessarily have to interact, but being in the presence of other people sometimes helps psychologically. The last example of digital culture that's important to me is cybersecurity. I have 3 Apple devices that I interchange on at least an hourly basis. All have the same passwords, photos, videos, and apps. Apple created a way for us to be able to have each device work the same way. In other words, if I download an app on my iPhone, my iPad would act to download the same app and vice versa. All connected together as one, and it takes just one hacker to destroy all of that if they choose. They'll be able to contact any one of my contacts, erase my data and artworks, use my pictures for any means, and that's honestly frightening. Having security for everything digital is important to me because as the years go by, we are slowly integrating our physical lives online. So just like my household, I don't want anyone breaking in and violating my personal space, even if it's virtual. As society pushes further into integrating technology more into our lives, we've become so reliant on it. Like Jeremy Rifkin's ideal society, which involves everything acting on a smart grid, technology seems to help out our daily lives a lot more than it does now. It involves informing our friends if we're going to be late by reviewing the traffic of that day, or sending new route to our vehicle's GPS if there's an accident before we can even leave the house. It's where everything digital is connected and work as a unit, but that leaves us so vulnerable to cyber threats because they'll have more than one way to hack into our lives. The social impact of cybersecurity involves each and every one of us because we're all essentially on the grid. A cyber environment that includes everything financial, social, political, emotional, mental, and essential. We've placed our whole lives in our cell phones, laptops, and tablets, where if you really want to know someone, all you have to do is search through their cell phones. So if that device is hacked, they can be you or me. Technology has shaped our culture into something spontaneous and fresh, and affected our social values to another plane. There's unspoken rules when it comes to how one should act on any given website or app. There are consequences and laws against trolling and cyber harassment. You can't post anything you want that's insulting or illegal without questions being asked. Every day, our online personas are shaped because of trending topics and discussions, and physical society is rapidly converting to online, where there are groups that involve people of similar races, interests, ideals, and values.